In the past years, SDR pastors have always taught, just as many other ministries know, that the guillotines will be used to bring about the prophesied enforcement of the mark of the beast, Sunday law death decree system of the Vatican, where this one mind global Vatican system will have power to kill before probation closes, and then once probation closes, those who have received the mark of the beast will be punished, starting with the first plague of Revelation chapter 16, verse 2.
And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image.
We all know that the great and grand test of Sunday law, death decree, happens before plague 1 even drops, and punishes those who have the mark of the beast, who agreed with Sunday laws and worshiped the beast in his image. But as prophesied, many, just before the close of time, would give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, and many bright lights would go out in the end and turn against the truth, just as we have seen happen with our former church of SDR, that we were all once a part of, but we are no longer a part of them due to all the corruption that had taken root. The apostasy is all over the place, and it is running wild in these last days in this world, and we must be on guard. Listen carefully to what others are saying and get grounded in the biblical truth is what I'm saying, because as we know, Babylon is the state of confusion, and it is roaring like a lion in these last days as we are entering in one of the last phases before Sunday law takes a step forward. If we carefully test every spirit, we can find confusion with those who are in apostasy, which they are spewing out like never before in these last days. As biblical Christians, we are not here to slander anyone's personal lives, or to put them down, or to tear them to pieces, or expose them in their personal downfalls. But we are simply here as faithful watchmen on the tower to expose all the lies and deceptions that are coming from these pulpits today with their false doctrines through the truth that we present. And many have asked the question, what makes us different from SDR, and why were we cast out? So, what happened with SDR in Bible prophecy? They changed the course of the Lord's end-time events regarding the beheading of the saints and the death decree that brings it all to pass, which we all know that when probation closes, only the 144,000 living saints are alive at this time, and they are sealed and cannot be moved whatsoever, which they are the only Christians alive during those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plagues who will venture down, all 7 of them. The wicked cannot touch them, kill them, or do anything to them. The 7 last plagues is known as the time of trouble for the wicked, which is a punishment unto them for what they did to the church of God before probation closed. The test for the world is at this point over with when probation closes. All cases have been decided once probation closes. No more second chance. And we understand that as biblical Christians who understand prophecy. With that said, again, the SDR Church has changed the beheading of the saints prophecy, and it is faithfully documented and recorded what has happened over the years, which we will show you in this video, that it is them who had changed the truth into a lie for these last days, not us who were cast out for rebuking the errors spewing from the SDR Church and then slandered for rebuking this heresy and lied about and spoken so much evil about for doing as the Lord had proclaimed in his injunction in fulfilling Matthew chapter 18. So first, let's start with the Bible and go from there, and you will see the downward spiral of SDR. By seeing this, you will see how the dragon is working through his lies and falsehoods today in this church. Revelation chapter 13, verse 15 through 17 proclaims,
And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
The fulfillment of this Sunday law death decree prophecy was seen and spoken again by the prophet John in Revelation chapter 20, verse 4.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands.
These two verses, these two witnesses from the scriptures, clearly reveals to us that when Sunday law is passed, penalties for violators of Rome's Sunday law are set. Revelation 13 clearly reveals to us two kinds of penalties in those passages. One is lighter with the buy and sell, and the other is a heavier penalty with a death decree where they must be killed. And so now, let's look at the backsliding of SDR into the great apostasy who once spoke the truth. Take a look. Number one, back in 2013 of December 1, guillotines in Obamacare.
You're also going to find that there are 30,000 guillotines on U.S. soil right now. In fact, when I put this page up 10 years ago, there was 30,000. I don't know how many are out there now, but there are 30,000 guillotines in U.S. soil right now. It has to do with Revelation 20, verse 4, by the way, where people will be beheaded if they refuse the mark of the beast.
According to SDR, the guillotines have something to do with Revelation chapter 24, where people will be beheaded for refusing the mark. True. Check one. Number two, another video clip here. Execution by guillotine in the U.S., July 23, 2014.
And the mark of the beast is something that happens at the end. So no one can claim that this prophecy is for the past. So the cleaner and more effective use of the guillotine will no doubt be considered and then legalized across the nation. After all, as I show on my Guillotines in America page, we already know they have 30,000 guillotines in the USA right now. That being said, are you ready to die for your faith? Are you sure?
SDR says that the use of guillotines will be legalized across the nation as per Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. That must happen at the end. He emphasized that no one can claim that this prophecy of Revelation chapter 20, verse 4 refers to the past. Remember this, because they changed this too. Check. Number three, another clip. Federal judge backs firing squads, guillotine for executions. April 30, 2017.
There was a deceptive twist in the reasoning behind the passage of the bill that later became law that was never mentioned in the law itself. They lied to the public on 2 counts to gain public approval for the use of the guillotines so as to hide the Bible prophecy about Christians being beheaded for them refusing to accept the mark of the beast. I mean, had he only mentioned the guillotine on its own, he would have come off to many Christians as a prophetic fulfillment in regards to the beheading connected to the mark of the beast, as Revelation 20 verse 4 talks about.
Here, SDR said that Bible prophecy tells us the guillotines are for those Christians who refuse to receive the mark of the beast. He repeats, the guillotines are for those who will refuse the mark. In short, when Sunday law comes, those who refuse will be executed, as Revelation chapter 20 verse 4 prophesies. Check. Number 4. Another video clip titled Schwarzenegger Promotes Vatican Guillotine Agenda, March 2018.
He knows that he has very little time left to do this final work, and he must ready the masses to kill those Christians who refuse to bow to the Pope and his admitted mark of Sunday Sabbath. Satan is literally training his loyal and greatly deceived prophesied Armageddon troops as we speak. Christian prophecy is that accurate. So keep your eyes open, and you're going to see Rome is going to be pushing their political pawns and send their media cohorts to build on the chance to declare the prophesied death sentence upon all those that refuse to bow to the Pope's admitted unbiblical Sunday Sabbath. Once done, it will become the law of the land, and all that refuse to obey will be legally worthy of death.
SDR even said, Satan is now training his Armageddon troops to get ready to kill all who refuse to worship on the Sunday Sabbath of the Pope. Then SDR clearly teaches that a law will be passed declaring all who will refuse to keep Sunday holy will be legally killed and then executed, which we have always known that to be before Plague 1 drops upon those who have the mark of the beast, as Revelation chapter 16 verse 2 proclaims. But in today's teaching of SDR, they teach that Armageddon is going to happen in the sixth plague, where the 1 hour with the beast will take place, which we know the 1 hour with the beast takes place before probation closes. Check. Number 5. Here is a clip of a video titled Guillotine Used in Senate Campaign, February 19th, 2020.
The guillotine isn't designed to be a logo. It's not designed to chop and prepare salads either. I mean, it's designed to kill people. And according to Christian prophecy, it will be used to kill many Christians that refuse the mark of the beast in Rome in the very near future. But anyway, many years ago, I did a radio broadcast about 30,000 guillotines that are in storage in the USA, ready and waiting for the proper time to bring them out of mothballs. And so now this is why the talking points for the long prophesied guillotine is now on their lips. That's what's prophesied to happen. And no, I'm not saying that they're going to roll out the guillotines next week, but they are going to roll them out a lot sooner than most people think. What can't be ignored now is the talk and the normalizing of the guillotine has actually become more and more apparent in politics so as to bring it to the long prophesied expected end. And when you compile all that talk with the end-time prophecies that have come to fulfillment right before our eyes, proving we are living in the last days, wherein the guillotines will soon be rolled out, and the fact the candidate that is now using the guillotine as their campaign logo is in fact a lesbian, of which we all know how the LGBTQ community openly hates Christians, we see this as no longer a laughing matter. It's a prophesied fact.
Here we can see that it is clear in this video that the guillotines are going to be used in the future for the mark of the beast, when it is enforced by law to kill and all those who will refuse to die. If Sunday laws were enforced during the plagues, they cannot kill because only the 144,000 are alive in that time and cannot be touched. But look at today and what SDR is proclaiming the guillotines are for. So here you have the new belief of the SDR Church, which is at their website, where it talks about Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, where they say, are all the Christian martyrs the last 2,000 years. Scroll down, beheading. Revelation 20, verse 4, all the Christians that have died for their faith the last 2,000 years.
And the mark of the beast is something that happens at the end. So no one can claim that this prophecy is for the past. And the mark of the beast is something that happens at the end. So no one can claim that this prophecy is for the past.
Now it's clear what they believe and how they changed the end-time prophecies of the Lord. SDR clearly emphasized back in 2014 that no one can claim that this prophecy of Revelation 20 verse 4 refers to the past. But yet, in their new belief, in 2020, it says all the Christians that have died for their faith in the last 2,000 years. Brethren, I was accused of the one changing everything, and that I was bought out and paid for by some large sum of money that came from somewhere, for by some big donation, and that I was a Jesuit. But the facts proclaim the truth here. Who changed the truth into a lie? So now you can clearly see how the truth was twisted and turned into a lie. I want you to take a look at this chart, which will show you what has happened in their backsliding and how it all began. And so when you look at this chart dating back to 2013, we can go all the way back to before 2007, where SDR was proclaiming the truth regarding the mark of the beast. And we, my wife and I, and so many others, were in the church in 2007, working hard and understanding the biblical prophecies, and agreed and understood that the guillotines have something to do with Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, which SDR proclaimed back in 2013. July 2014, as we have witnessed in the videos, Guillotines will be legalized across the nation as per Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. And they proclaimed, no one can claim Revelation 20, verse 4, is for the past, which we understand and know. They changed that in 2020. Next, April 2017, guillotines are for Christians who will refuse the mark. Next, March 2018, Armageddon troops training to kill people who will refuse the mark of the beast, which we know is before the plagues fall, because Revelation chapter 16 clearly says that the plagues fall. Plague number 1 falls and punishes those who have the mark of the beast. So, here's where it starts to fall. We were in America at this time working, where in December 2018, it was published in a newsletter, which my wife and I handled the newsletters, and she informed me of what was going on, because it was published 1 hour with the beast in the 6th plague. This is where the confusion started happening visibly to us. So what did we do? We followed Matthew 18 and lovingly questioned. We questioned why the 1 hour with the beast, Sunday law death decree, happens in the plagues. Confusion started to settle in. Once this happened and we started to question, I was silenced in the pulpit. I was given a lot of excuses as to why I was no longer preaching in the online church pulpit of SDR. I let it go. My wife and I agreed something is wrong. We need to go back home. We packed our bags with our family. We left. We went to the Philippines. We prayed to God where we could be alone with Him on our country living and get ready for what was going to happen. And so, as time went by, guillotines are for the future when people will refuse the mark, stated February 2020. Confusion was settling in to the church. Next, June 2020, officially released the 1 hour with the beast study, guillotine Christian martyrs the last 2,000 years, which contradicted their old saying and changed the past into a lie. They changed the truth into a lie. This is why I went forward in July 2020, just after this, where I made a video called The End of Days Explained. 1 hour with the beast happens before the plagues. Plain and simple, went forward with the truth. Then I was commanded and told to take down the video, which they deleted their comment so that I could not show others that I was being forced to take this video down because it went against their new belief. It is clear they are the ones that change things, not us. And when we went forward with the truth and continued in the truth, they went into the corruption of false doctrine, and thus they could not refute the truth that we continued to have and to share. And what did they do? They slandered us. They did all manner of evil against us. They spoke openly, accusing us of so many things, of such horrible lies, and adding false colorings to stories, to false testimonies and what have you. And that is when they had sent us out. We had no more to do with this lie and what was going on. And this, and what has been said here, and this chart is faithful and true and documented with all the sources that we have provided in this video. So this should be able to answer everyone's questions why we are no longer with SDR and why we are different. And there's many more things than just this. And so, for those of us who understand biblical truth, and you're going to be a Berean that is going to go and search for the truth and not listen to lies, what's going to happen to those who change the truth into a lie, or have changed the prophecies, or those who even agree with it? Revelation chapter 22, verses 18 through 19 proclaim peace.
For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. He which testifieth these things saith, Surely I come quickly. Amen.